So I'm thinking when Tom Holland turns 80, he'll still look 15 on Film That Reviews. Hi, Melanie. I was Zorianna Kit, and today we review Cherry, which is on Apple Plus. Cherry drifts from college dropout to army medic in Iraq, anchored only by his true love. But when returning from the war with PTSD, his life spirals into drugs and crime as he struggles to find a place in this world. Directed by the Russo brothers, Anthony and Joe, stars Tom Holland, Ciara Bravo, and Jack Reynor. So I swear that, Tom Holland plays Cherry, and throughout the entire film, he grows. He ages at least 20 years, but still looks like a teenager for some reason. What did you think of Cherry?
Well, I understand why the Russo brothers wanted to do this and why Tom Holland wanted to do this. All Marvel fans or comic book fans know that the Russo brothers are behind the Avengers movies. And Tom Holland is their Spider-Man. And of course, when your claim to fame becomes this whole Marvel universe, the thing to do is to show the world that you are more than just that. No one, as much as it's iconic to be able to play these characters, you don't want to be typecast as that. You want to show your range.
Yeah, and I think at this point, the Russo brothers had been working on Marvel projects for 8 years, and I think they just wanted a break and get out of the Marvel mode and make real movies again.
Yes, so there you go. And Tom Holland, we reviewed him in a Netflix movie several months ago. The Devil something or other on Netflix.
Yeah.
It was him and Robert Pattinson, and it was very gritty and grim. And this is Tom Holland post Spider-Man, not being that like a wide-eyed puppy that looks up to Iron Man. This is he's really showing his range, and he has it, right? So he is terrific. In fact, he is the main reason to see this movie, because this is a guy that has tremendous acting chops and range beyond what we know him for as Peter Parker / Spider-Man. So in that regard, of course, he's going to want to do something like this, because here he gets to show off so many different aspects. He's a war veteran, a drug addict, a romantic lead. So there's a lot going on here that would be very appealing for an actor. And, same thing for the Russo brothers. It gives them an opportunity to just get out of that universe, like you said, the Marvel universe, and do something else. Unfortunately,
yes.
Unfortunately, it's not quite, I think it's not quite. What did you think of it?
Yeah, let me see if I can help you out here. I felt like I was watching the movie Titanic, in the sense that that this story from the very beginning is a sharp downward descent into the worst things that could ever happen to a human being, especially a U.S. veteran, and especially when you're surrounded by opioids. From moment one, it gets darker and darker, and then he has at the beginning he meets his girlfriend, his soon-to-be wife. And there's a point right at the end of the first act where she says, I can't live with you like this, so I'm going to join you. And now the two of them go down this really dark path, and nothing good happens for the first 2 hours of the movie. And I just felt like, oh my God, this movie is just, it's sinking like the Titanic. And it's not that it's bad. It's not that the story is bad. Structurally, it's sound, blah, blah, blah. But it is downright depressing. It just wouldn't stop.
Yes, all of that. Yes. Also, it is too long. I mean, it's over 2 hours. What, 2 hours and 18 minutes, or I can't remember the exact running time, but it is too long. Like, you're asking the audience to sit through a lot.
Yeah, and you just know that every time something good might happen, it's not going to happen. In fact, it's just going to get worse. And this going in. Oh, hey, look, a break. No.
Well, so I understand that the opioid crisis is a very real crisis in the United States. It is a hot button topic. In fact, a few weeks back, we reviewed Crisis, which starred Gary Oldman, Armie Hammer, and Evangeline Lilly, and it's which we were not huge fans of, but this movie is a completely different perspective of the opioid crisis, because it's a soldier who gets addicted to it when he comes home to his PTSD, all that sort of stuff. So again, this is a plausible situation that no doubt happens to a lot of people. They don't all necessarily go on to become bank robbers necessarily, but they all have their own dark paths.
By the way, the whole bank robber thing happens in the first 2 minutes of the movie, so there's no spoiler there.
Yes, exactly. But the thing that when I watch a movie, I really want to be able to connect with the characters. I want to understand them. I want to know them, because then I can either root for them and feel for them, or I can decide that I don't want to root for them because I don't agree with what they're doing morally. And I feel that with all of the characters in this movie, that none of them really let me in to their lives. Like, we meet Tom Holland. He's kind of geeky. For some reason, he gets the hot girl, but he does. And then he goes to war and he sees things that are horrible. I mean, we see them too. They're horrible. And then he comes back and he goes on this descent. But we don't know really the motivation is a little hard. Like, I don't know anything about his family. I don't know what they think of this. I mean, they allude to, she alludes to the fact that his parents or her parents were helping them buy a house after they got married. But where is the family? Where is her family? Where are everyone's everything? Like, it's not showing me to create any sort of empathy. They're just there without anything else. And
I mean, you caught it kind of on the background end. I caught it on the other end of, man, his life is so bad that I feel like if I wanted to connect with that character, it would send me to a dark place that I didn't necessarily want to go. And that's why I got this Titanic feeling of you just know that things are going to get bad. And so I kind of create a distance between me and the character to not want to feel emotionally, because I just know, do I want to feel this bad right now today? It's hard for me to watch Titanic because what's going to happen. You know how horrible things are. And that's just a feeling I don't want to have at the moment. And, and so we're kind of seeing it from the same thing from different perspectives.
Interesting. Yeah.
I will say that, let's just say my Uncle Joe gave me a lot of money recently. And as a gift to myself for this whole pandemic thing, I bought myself a nice giant 4K television, really cheap. I'll mention that. This movie looks really gorgeous on that giant 4K television. It's oh my gosh, the whole army, the whole Iraq scenes, it's a beautiful film, and it looks amazing on that television.
But you've got the Russo brothers. This is where their Marvel Universe expertise comes in. They know how to take multiple characters and create a world that's very stylized and looks visually, aesthetically gorgeous. And this movie has that. The thing that it also has, and I don't know if it always works for it, is that I feel like it's a mishmash of a lot of different genres. Like, for example, in this movie, we have the opioid crisis, and it's also a war movie. It's also like a crime caper because of the bank robberies.
Yeah.
So it kind of vacillates between these three things. But then in terms of styles, like it has voiceover. At one point, there's also the breaking of the fourth wall, talking directly to the audience. There are visual chapters that the film breaks itself up in. There's some dark humor, a little bit.
No, a lot. There's a lot of dark humor.
And then there's like music video style, like slow-mo, rock and roll music, or like opera music, and the characters are walking in slow-mo. So it's like a jumble mishmash of all sorts of, like a big tossed salad. Did you feel that?
I felt it, but honestly, I wasn't bothered by it. I kind of liked it. I liked the storytelling aspect of it. But what I will say about the story is the third act, and I won't say anything about it other than stories like this always have a certain third act that, changes the character's direction. And my only problem with the third act is it was the last 2 minutes of the movie. And I'm like, those last 2 minutes, I would love to see a movie just about those last 2 minutes.
Yes.
I've been following this guy on TikTok who spent 21 years in prison, and he came out a better person from it, from those 21 years, and you kind of get a sense of that might happen to this character in that third act, and to me, I'm just utterly fascinated by what they showed us and what happened. But again, it was only 2 minutes long from 2 hours of just heart-wrenching, drama and tragedy. And so that's kind of how I fall on the story, at least.
Well, it is based on a true story. It's based on the author's personal experience. I don't know how much of it was embellished. Yeah. And apparently he wrote this from jail, and the proceeds of the book went to pay, all the money that he owed from all the places that he had robbed. So he can profit off of the book. So it was written from prison. So perhaps he has changed.
Well, here's the example I'll use. If you've ever been on the Snow White ride at Disneyland, the dark ride takes you through the story of Snow White. When you get upon the scene where Snow White bit the apple, she's asleep and the dwarves are surrounding her, and then you turn the corner and there's a big mural with her and the prince saying, "And they lived happily ever after." That's basically Cherry in a nutshell.
Okay.
All right. So
well, I don't know that ride, but you know what? Next time, if I, once the parks reopen and I go, I'll be sure to experience that.
It opens in a month, so there you go. All right, so it's funny. I think you admire the filmmaking quality, the filmmaking skills of the Russo brothers, the acting of Tom Holland.
I do.
But I think the story itself was just kind of all over the place for you, and so I'm going to guess 6.5, 7, maybe.
7. I'm giving it a 7. I really do like the Russo brothers and Tom Holland, and I certainly think that they could potentially do great things together, or separately for that matter, and it's nice to see them breaking out of the Marvel universe. I think just trying and going for it alone is worth the higher points. And also, if you're fans of them, it's just, directors have filmographies, actors have filmographies, and their trajectories are always interesting to track, especially in hindsight when you can see a pattern building or establishing itself. And I think this is something in a trajectory of two filmmakers and an actor. And I think it's worth noting where they are right now in their lives and the project that they chose to do in this particular moment. So it is just worth it from that standpoint. Yeah. I think you liked the movie more than I did, but I'm not sure how much higher you would have gone on the rating. I think you had issues with it, much like I did, but for different reasons. but you seem to be a little bit more forgiving of some of the aspects. So I think you may also have given it a 7, maybe even 7.5.
Yeah, no, I gave it a 7. I think, you know, I look at it as a story. It's a well-told story. You know, it's clear that the Russo brothers, that, you know, they made films before Marvel, but now they have the benefit of having made billion-dollar movies or have billion-dollar budgets and a pool of great actors to pull from. But at the same time, you've got to sit through this movie, and it's just a really depressing movie. And so great work on storytelling. But you know, this is one of those movies where I'm just not going to rush out and go see it again. And I've got to kind of sit there.
Luckily, it's on Apple TV, so you know, you can pause it anytime you want to if you need a break.
Yeah, but again, if you have a giant 4K television, definitely see this movie. It's beautiful. Okay, so with that, be sure to like, subscribe, comment below on what you thought of Cherry, now on Apple Plus. And with that, let's get out of here.